So I'm Catherine, and I work for the Cree Nation of Wemindji. The presentation was done by Theresa Georgekish, my colleague, who was unable to come here. I just found out at the last minute, so she sent me her presentation. And so I'll try and do it justice, but I need my notes. Theresa is the language coordinator in Wemindji, and I have to thank Colin and Rodney for giving all the background to our presentation. The problem that we're addressing in this presentation is really, I think, a result of the changes that Colin and Rodney have talked about. Theresa titled our presentation Awi Jowdwit, are things that work together. It's about connections, land, culture, language, and wellness. And Theresa wanted me to point out the background for this slide. I'll meet you up, a teepee, and there's a family in it. It's the young people, the children that she wanted me to point out, because her efforts in Wemindji are the well-being of future generations. So I'm going to start with some words that Theresa sent me, and they'll introduce you to her thinking. She's a pretty amazing woman. In the Cree Nation of Wemindji's Culture and Wellness Department, where we work, we are sadly witnessing the erosion of language skills that come from less time spent on the land and the distractions of digital media, social media, and changes in schooling and education. More than our language is at stake, she says. We stand to lose so much if we do nothing. Those losses include our well-being, our connection to the land, and most importantly, our identity as Cree people. This is the Creator's gift to us. We need to embrace it, educate ourselves, and talk to our elders. It is through the transmission of their teaching that our language and our culture are with us to this day. So, how do I change my slide? Pointer. Which? Okay, thanks. So, we're focusing on language because Theresa's the language coordinator, and it's the year of Indigenous languages. Theresa, after listening to everybody talk about the problem of language in Wemindji, carried out a survey in Wemindji last year. Theresa's a persistent surveyor, and she managed to contact more than 54% of households in town. And the results were worrisome. Despite the fact that Cree has a large number of fluent speakers, more and more children, especially those under the age of 13 in Wemindji, are only speaking English. They say they remember when they were Cree, but they only speak English now. And many say they don't understand Cree when the adults address them. We notice that fewer people are participating in our cultural programs. There are fewer people spending time on the land. And so they're missing out on those opportunities they had in the past to speak and to learn. At a conference Theresa attended, Elder Isaac Masti of Wemindji explained that the knowledge of previous generations hasn't vanished. It continues to be available to those who want to learn and to those who take the time to listen. When you look at the night sky, you see millions of stars, he said. Those stars are always there, even during the day. The world turns, but the stars are always there, just like our culture and language. They've been around a long time, and the culture and language will always be there. Our language, culture, wellness, and spirituality are embedded in the stars. So the problem is that school children aren't learning Cree very much. And school may not be the best place to make that happen unless it's full immersion. The school certainly can't do it alone. Learning, of course, starts at home. The daycares, schools, after-school program, the youth center, they all have a role in maintaining and practicing the language and our culture. everyone, in fact, is responsible for fostering pride in our heritage and nurturing our language and culture. She says that, whoops, uh-oh, what have I done? Okay. That one. Oh, no. Good grief. Thank you. Okay. So what we're doing now, the Wellness and Culture Department has started a language program for the community, hoping to reach those parents who aren't so confident about speaking Cree with their children. But they're not really the people that are coming to class. But we found that fun activities like a syllabics bingo nights bring more people than our classes do. So do our Awareness Week activities, language dinners, radio shows with the elders. At these events, concerns are aired and ideas are exchanged. Adding an emphasis on language to cultural events seems to be pretty good for raising awareness. And our last point there is about technology, digital technology. If you can't beat them, join them. So we're working on language apps and podcasts of elders' stories that I think it's going to be a really good project. We're waiting on funding. So we mentioned working together to make some change. Theresa's put together a steering committee in Wemindji for language that's bringing people from all the departments and entities together to work on this problem. It's going to take a lot of ideas, creativity, innovation, and a lot of work. Change will be slow, and we have to keep reminding each other of this. But together, maybe they can make a difference. It's interesting. Several people have talked about building bridges here, and this looks like a pretty safe one, we think. I'll end on this optimistic note with a quote from one of our students. And it makes Theresa and I think that maybe something's going in the right direction. This student said, "I was thinking last night before I went to bed about the language and the meaning of words. And I remembered hearing my grandmother and aunt talking to me before I went to residential school. It's different now, the language. People don't speak that way anymore. So I was thinking after class last night that what we are learning here, this is the way how to say it right." Thanks.